Alright guys, time to go back again. Today I'm enjoying your day so far. Today we're going to talk about this pretty interesting day on the timeline that happened yesterday. This Florida Mutineers tournament happened, the Release the Kraken tournament. Finally a 4 versus 4 variant tournament out of this opening week of Call of Duty League team hosted events. Some pretty spicy matchups in this one. Crimsix's team versus Scump's team got pretty heated indeed. We're going to talk through exactly how that went down in the coming minutes here, and also some other interesting topics that I'm sure you guys will enjoy. Like, if you guys do enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. Yesterday then, Clayster talking about this respawn practice with a seam. So as we talked about the last couple of days, New York subliners, that being Clayster, Mac, Zuma, +1, question mark who that's going to be. Hydra has been signed, this like kind of French prodigy that I think due to visa situations or something like that is stuck over in Europe right now, which means that a seam is, well, trying out with the starting lineup, and potentially that's what they're going to do going forward. Clayster even asked me in this one, and well, then he does an actual video on the matter. First look at my new team. You guys were also pointing out to me that Attached did a video yesterday scrimming the new 100 Thieves as he described it, which is, well, either he means like the new 100 Thieves as in the LA Thieves, or he also means the fact that, well, Temp on the team, that is, well, seems to be the team as it stands right now. Temp, Slasher, Kenny, and TJ have been playing together a lot lately, so maybe that will be confirmed in coming days, who really knows. And Subliners even did this tweet, kind of saying, look, do you think Hydra's going to be a starter or a sub player? And, well, we'll have to see what happens over the coming weeks, because the team does seem to be screwing with them right now. This then is also what happened. Waskin said Cigar is out this year, let's get behind Scrappy Do, so kind of saying that, well, Scraps may have signed somewhere. I imagine if it's anywhere, it's probably Paris, and, well, seems like Waskin hasn't had that opportunity. So this was the tournament then that went down yesterday night. Mutineers, the Release the Kraken tournament, 32 teams, best of 5 CDL rules, single limb, no full CDL rosters allowed, but some of these rosters were certainly very stacked indeed. One of them being the FaZe plus OG. I thought this logo was kind of funny, but Arcites, Scump, Simp, and Dashy is your 4-man squad. That's pretty deadly, and I mean, like, if this was actually a team in the CDL, it'd be pretty damn nasty. Not sure you've exactly got the entry SMG maybe you would like on this team, but yeah, all things considered, it's a pretty stacked squad. And the other squad that's really in contention here was what was called Team Hook, with that being Hook, Decimate, Crimsix, and Donny Temp. So these were the couple of teams they ended up matching against each other pretty early on in the tournament, and well, it was a pretty entertaining affair. We'll go through exactly what happens here. So Dashy says, okay, 4v4 Mutineers, 25k with Scump, Simp, and Arcites, and then it all kind of kicks off. So pretty much what happened here, the very first map of this series, they go up, Crimsix's team go up like 31-0 or 30-0, something in that ballpark, but OG and FaZe like have a full rotation to the next hardpoint, so seems like it should be a relatively even game in theory. And then Arcites like lags out of the game, or his game crashes or something like that. So then, okay, they are up 30-0, they then restart the game, and well, some people say, I wasn't watching the streams at the time and I couldn't quite find the clips, but some people say that Crimsix said before the game that, okay, yeah, so we start up 30-0 in theory, we were only playing to 220 because we had that 30-point lead. But, you know, a lot of people saying that Scump and Co on the other side didn't imagine that was going to be the case, and we'll look at a couple of clips in a second that I did manage to capture. But, yeah, they weren't aware that Crim and Co were thinking that it was only going up to 220 for them, and, you know, therefore they just played the game out like normal, probably thinking, okay, it's just a standard restart, it's only 30-0, not really a big deal, right? To the end of the day, you can just restart the game and play from there. However, they then go all the way through the game, Crimsix and Co break a hardpoint, they get to like 240, which in Crim's mind is then good enough for them to win. They then get broken, and, well, Scump's team come back and win 250, 241 or something to that effect, but Crimsix and Co are like, okay, yeah, because we got to 220 or because we got to 30 before, therefore we were only playing to 220 and therefore we win, right? And I'll play a couple of clips to this effect, Crimsix talking about it on stream, and then Dashy and Scump kind of telling their side of the story, and why maybe Crimsix isn't Dashy's goat.
Watching across.
I'm watching the right side.
They smoked it.
In the deep back.
Yo, RC's one shot.
One shot. Two in the deep back. Two in the deep back. Yeah.
Two front.
Alright, I gotta watch the back.
More than 2-1, right?
Yeah,
we
won.
won.
Okay. Just leaving it.
Yeah. Should we leave the game?
Oh, good. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They should have ended it.
Taking the dub on that shit, okay.
I would have helped it back.
At a time in their favor, and we don't say anything because we think he's trolling, that they just get a 30-point lead.
All I'm saying is Damon Barlow is my goat. Let's go.
Content creator genius over there.
DB3. It's my guy.
So this was kind of the stuff that happened on the Reddit. People were talking about it. Crim then came out in reply, got absolutely demolished. We had full control. We were playing to 221. Rewatch both perspectives. Stop the Calto on the map. And well, he comes back with this as well. Should rewatch to both perspectives. Your POV makes it even stronger, dude, etc, etc. So yeah, Crim kind of getting blasted on the Reddit here. And I thought this is pretty funny from Brian Sage as well. They get to 239, which is above the 221, as Crimsix said they technically needed. But at the end of the day, like even in the CDL rules that they introduced in the middle of the Modern Warfare season, a 29-0 lag out would have just been a restart, because if both teams' combined score wasn't 150 and there wasn't more than like 100 points between the teams, then it was allowed to be a restart or something like that. So even the CDL rules don't verify really what Crimsix is saying in this one, but thought it was pretty entertaining regardless. And Deads comes out and says, look, Arsties, I respect you more than I already did, because after this map number 1, Arsties was like, look, whatever, it's not worth the hassle, just give them the win, like we'll play on from there. Then they play map 2, they lose 6-2 or something like that, but then they execute the reverse sweep, and Arsties, Scump, Simp, and Dashy go on fire, and then they execute the reverse sweep and end up beating these guys. And well, as Crimsix says, after losing the reverse sweep, I actually had a lot of fun that series. Those rules actually made the game so much better, so good to see some pros are pretty happy about how the game is being played, because later today we're going to talk about some of the issues that the pros do have with the game right now. But yeah, it seems pretty happy with it. Gung-Ho and Ninja are crutch perks, then you got to decide between Tack and Flak, so yeah, it seems pretty interesting. But yeah, Crim is up losing this series, and at the rest of the tournament, he then finishes out with Scump and Go winning it. I think Clayson did a funny tweet as well, that he's just woken up and he saw this team of Scump, Sim, Arcides, and Dashy, and was like, nah, I'm not going to play this tournament, I'm hopping off. And well, they do end up getting the job done in the end. The other interesting side of this actually was there was a bit of drama between Censor and Methodz in their semi-final. So what supposedly happened here, and Methodz did this tweet to the effect as well, but Doug just torched my time to watch Seth's stream like it's a Khabib fight. But this was the explanation I saw here on the Reddit. Not exactly sure if this is 100% legit, but this is what people were talking about. So basically, Doug's team was supposed to host the first map, and it was a best of 5. Obviously, it was a best of 5. We just saw in that graphic from the Mutineers that these were best of 5s. Doug asked Methodz team if they wanted to play a best of 5. They said, nah, best of 3. So Methodz team ended up hosting first map and winning. Then the admin said, look, it was supposed to be a best of 5. You should just do vetoes for the map. So, okay, replay the series. Okay, you won one map, but you were playing, unnecessarily, right? Because it was meant to be a best of 5. You weren't even meant to start. But Methodz then declined and said they wanted to keep the 1-0 lead and started arguing. It's kind of funny how this kind of stuff happens twice in one day. At the same time, when there's $25,000 on the line at these opening events, then you can kind of understand the frustration to a degree. But yeah, pretty entertaining to see. Doug's team ended up coming top 4 in this. Zinni's team did end up winning, going on to the grand finals, losing to Scump and Co. to finish off the tournament. So certainly a pretty interesting day on the timeline. I do wonder what you guys think about this squad in theory, because of course it's kind of, 2 parts from each of the FaZe team and the OpTic Gaming team, the OpTic Chicago team for next season, Scump and Dashy. I wonder how you could improve this to a degree. I mean, maybe Dashy is your flex. I mean, I don't really know. Like, Simp and Abizi, I guess, would be the ideal combo. Arcides and Dashy, who really knows? But especially with the FFAR meta in the current place that it seems to be right now, that we're going to talk about a little bit later today, certainly the more FFAR, like kind of flex role players you can have on your team that are comfortable using that weapon as Dashy seems to be, probably the better, right? So pretty remarkable. We're going to have to see how these teams match up going forwards. But yeah, certainly a question in the back of my mind and in the back of the mind of a lot of the community. How are these teams going to match up with the meta that seems to be developing right now? And how well are these teams going to compete next season? Because it's going to be a hyper competitive one, that is for sure. And certainly cool to see these guys playing together. To finish off the video, I wanted to mention this that came out from the Game Awards yesterday. Unfortunately, they did delete the image, but I've got it on screen ready for you guys to see, which is right here. So yesterday they come up with a number of different awards. Call of Duty does a relatively good job in these. I mean, best esports athlete is one of them. I'm not really sure why we have to call esports players athletes. Like, I don't really think they're athletes. I think that's a bit of a stretch, and just opens up for kind of a funny back and forth on Twitter, I suppose. But regardless, they managed to get pretty much everything wrong in this graphic with the exception of Zywoo. But Ian Crimsix Porter has an image of Shotzi. You can actually see it says Shotzi on his jersey right here, so I'm not really sure how they managed to get that wrong. Crimsix they put under this Canyon guy. Don't really know much about League of Legends. I think he won the World Championship or something like that. Shotzi gets his name put under actually the picture of Canyon. So who really knows what's going on? But I thought it was pretty entertaining to see regardless. And Crimsix and Shotzi are actually up for the award in this one. Not sure if they just copied the Esports Awards one, because I think the Esports Awards Crimsix was also up for the best player of the year, even though realistically he was only only like one of the best players right at the end of the World Championship, where he had a few good series leading up to their victory and got that like championship weekend's MVP on the whole, while Shotzzy won the season MVP. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly why they chose Crimsix necessarily, because I think a lot of people would look at the season and say, well, Crim wasn't really like that solid of a player. Yes, he did win the World Championship, and of course was a solid player, but it wasn't like, you know, top 5 or anything in that caliber. So kind of funny to see him up here once again. They did a number of different awards as well, so Modern Warfare was up there for like Esports Game of the Year. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But Rambo was nominated for the Best Esports Coach, number of other big names here. So it seems like the 10th of December, all this stuff's going to be announced, and I believe the actual Esports Awards will be coming relatively soon as well. These Game Awards guys have a lot of followers, and it'd be pretty cool to see if the Call of Duty guys do relatively well. But intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. I thought it was a pretty entertaining day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.